So today we're looking at Volatility 25 1S. Before we go right straight to it, right, I want to give out a few points when it comes to this strategy I'm about to share with you. So usually I use up to two time frames, two different time frames, right? But sometimes I use one. But that all relies or depends on the information I'm able to see, right? I mean, you can use multiple time frames, especially if you're trying to maybe get into a trade, right? But usually when I'm about to, or when I feel like I'm interested in that particular trade, I usually look at the 1 minute and 2 minute. I don't trade anything more than that, you feel me? Maybe sometimes the 5 minute time frame. And that's if I don't see the information that is required for me to enter that particular trade. So for example, let's say I'm trying to enter a trade on the 1 minute time frame, but the information that I'm receiving on the 1 minute time frame, that particular trade, it's not like clear. Sometimes you do get that it's not going to be clear, but you see that no, this is a signal. It's just not happening in that time frame, right? So now what you do, you're going to have to go to the 2 minute time frame, right? And then once you get to the 2 minute time frame, that is where you might just get a cleaner setup rather than just letting that trade go without you being involved, right? So it's wiser to check on if you have that type of condition, then you're allowed to do that. And sometimes you might not get it on the 2 minute time frame, so you have to go to the 5 minute time frame, right? You have to go to the 5 minute time frame. So those are the time frames that we are going to be using to enter trades: 1 minute, 2 minute, and 5 minute. I don't usually use 3 minutes, but those are the three time frames that we are mainly gonna use to enter a trade, right? So before we start showing our real life movements, right? I wanna just give you guys, I wanna give you guys like a lesson real quick. Remind you guys about what we are looking for, because it's very important. It's very important that before you enter a trade, you refresh your mind, right? Don't just jump into the charts, because you are gonna be making bad decisions, right, if you just do that. So this is something that I also do myself. I always remind myself of the kind of setup I'm looking for, or just refresh my mind. So I'm gonna do that with you guys before we even look at, and I'm gonna show you a trade that I took, a setup where I did take a trade. But for now, let's just refresh, because it's not every day that you are gonna trade. You must teach yourself that. And if you're trading, you shouldn't rush. You shouldn't rush to make large amounts of money, or you shouldn't, try to over leverage. You shouldn't try to do those things just because you're confident in your strategy or whatever that you're doing. It doesn't mean that you need to break certain rules, because one thing that I've noticed, if you have a strategy that works, right? If you have a strategy that works, you also need to have a risk management strategy that works, so that if your strategy, maybe you make a mistake through the process of you analyzing and all that, and then for some reason we are not like precise that day, or you are not focused, or maybe you are distracted or whatever. If some in some cases that does happen to everyone. So if let's just say that day you make a mistake, you rushed, and then you inside a trade, right? And then you realize that no, I've made a mistake. but now it's too late. You're inside that trade. So what helps you? A proper risk management, right? You need to be able to risk properly. You need to be able to target properly, and you need to be able to understand that you have made a mistake, and you need to manage that mistake accordingly, right? So let's just say you're overconfident, or you don't think that's gonna happen to you, and then it does happen. Now you have to start all over just because you didn't want to take the necessary steps to prevent that, which is really, really bad management, if you ask me, bro. You really need to be able to do these things, bro. You have to understand that there are bad days even in trading. Don't matter if you had a profitable week, profitable month. It doesn't really matter. You just have to understand. You really have to understand that trading is about understanding how to manage your cash flows and all that. You feel me? It's not only about income and whatever profit. It's about expenses also. It's about losses. It's about, it's like a business, this thing, bro. You understand me? So you really have to put your mind in a good place so that you become profitable, even if you're having bad days, bad trading days. So I'm going to start off by reminding you guys of the kind of setup we're looking for. So I don't want to confuse you guys. So what I'm going to do like 2 examples, right? I'm going to do 2 examples. The first one, it's going to be this one, which is a downtrend movement, right? But our trend, for us to get a trend, we need only 2. Let's say our market just came here, right? We need 2 touches on the same line, right? So if, for example, we would expect something like this to confirm that we are interested in that setup, right? So we need something like this. The moment we get something like this, and then the market reacts, right here. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for something like this, right? Even if this part hasn't reached this level right here, this trend line, even if this part hasn't reached, but the moment we get like 2 parallel touches like these ones, then we become interested, but only if this part touches this. I mean, we become interested once we see this, right? So let me note it down for you guys so that, okay, it's cool. I'm gonna just use that one. So this part right here, it's your midpoint, right? You must not get this wrong, guys. You must not. So this right here would be your midpoint, right? So this would be your midpoint right here. So that should be present at all times, right? We don't really care about this. We don't care where it's coming from, right? You don't want to worry too much about that, because if you want to understand everything, you're not gonna trade, man. You're not gonna be able to find a trade, because now you're gonna have all these ideas, all these things going on, and now you're gonna end up making a bad decision, right? Or a bad trade in this case. So now we're gonna take that, and this is your first touch. Remember the areas that I'm giving titles to, I'm writing titles to. Those are the areas that you are mainly focused on, right? Yeah, so I'm just gonna write 1, right? Y'all gonna understand. So I'm gonna write 1. So that refers to your first touch, right? So that's gonna refer to your first touch, and then here I'm gonna write 2. Right? So these are the things you are looking for if you don't see this, if you're part of my channel, right, if you're part of the family and you are a trader, you're trading what I'm teaching you guys, if you're not seeing this, do something else, man. Do something, read a book or something, bro. Take a walk and come back later or next day or whatever. But if you don't see this, just stay away, man, you know. So this was the formula. Before we even proceed, this is what we want to see, right? And then let me do this one also. I want to do an uptrend market condition, right? So this is gonna be the same. Price just came in. Did I put it right? Yeah, I think y'all are gonna understand it. Yeah, right. So this is what we want to see, right? Right. So yeah, I don't know if I got this one right or what, bro. Okay, so my problem was this. I'm losing focus now. Yeah. So it's gonna come like that, right? Yep. So this is our second example, right? So we're gonna expect price to come here, drop there and there, right? And then we want a reaction. And notice how I'm not taking this one to that level right there. I'm not touching this midpoint right here. I'm not touching the parallel level, same as that midpoint. Notice how I'm not doing that, right? That's for a reason. I want you guys to understand that it's not every trade that you're gonna get this and now you have to be trading. No, I'm doing that for a reason. We're gonna go deeper into it after I'm done with these examples. So yeah, actually let me fix that. It's not straight. Yeah, it's a little bit better. So yeah, this is gonna be your 2. This is gonna be your 2, right? So I'm gonna change it to 2, second touch. And remember, we also want to highlight our midpoint, right? Remember, this has to be, the line has to touch that midpoint. And then this is going to be your mid point, right? Right. So this is how it looks. This is how it should be. Right. This is how it should be, man. Now, don't take my word for it. You guys are free to just try it out. I had a guy that was in my comments. I was actually impressed that there are people that see things and actually try it out, you know. The guy came back with like interesting information, you know. So I really like such attitude, you feel me? It's people that are really, really, really eager to try things out, you know. Not just look at and then expect to change your life just like that, or expect to be profitable just like that. No, bro. It don't work like that. If you see something interesting, or if you feel like it's something you want to do, try it out first. Practice, test it out, you know. And then after you feel like, now I'm able to trust in this thing, then you are able to grow from it, right? Don't just do it and then once you don't get the results that you want, now you blame other people. No, you have to want it first before you can, you know, you can benefit from whatever that you want to do, right? So yeah, that's just how it is, bro. But let's not waste any time, man. I don't want to make this thing long. So I want to just, yeah. So now that we have all the points, which your first touch, your midpoint, second touch, vice versa, right? And then your first point, midpoint, and then second touch. So with all that said, we know that price has to touch here for you to become interested in taking that trade. But we have to look at other things, but I cannot really show you with what I just illustrated here, right? So I cannot just so we're gonna have to jump into real price movements, right? But we expecting something like this for price to go here and react. Same here, we're expecting price to drop here and react. By reacting, I mean continue going up, and here continue going down. You understand me? So now let's not waste any time. Let's go down to this setup. So this was a trade that I took, but before I take this, we have to jump to the 50-minute time frame, so that because this is how I saw the trade, right? This is where I saw the trade. So first thing I looked at, I saw that price was dropping. All of a sudden, price just decided to drop, right? Price just drop, broke that low, broke that support. It broke that this level. If you not following, it dropped and then it broke that, right? And then it went higher, right? But I'm not mostly focused on these levels right here, these levels that are being broken. I'm not focused on those levels. I mean, we can use it to simplify the market or whatnot, but I'm not really interested in those levels being taken out. For me, that's not something I'm interested on, but I would like to see where price is reacting. I like to have that information in mind. For example, price reacted here. Once it got to this level, price reacted, right? So it's good to know that, so that you are able to maximize your chances of winning. But now we are looking for what? We're looking for any kinds of trends, or not really a trend, but what I just showed you, the illustration I just showed you guys, right? So we're looking for something like that. But where do we see it? If you guys see it, I'm just gonna pause for a minute, right? Not even a minute, 10 seconds. You tell me, guys. You tell me if you see it. After price just reacted here and then it went higher. Tell me if you see what I just showed you here. Right? Or just pause the screen. But yeah, I see it. I saw it real quick, man. I didn't even need like a lot of times or seconds for me to see what I'm about to show you, right? The moment I just placed this line right here on that support, the moment I just placed it there, I immediately saw that pattern right here. I saw it. So let me just highlight it for you guys. For those who are not seeing it, I'm gonna show you guys, don't worry. So this is the first one, right? What are we noticing? We're noticing that price went higher, it dropped, right? It dropped lower. It dropped lower, respecting what? Respecting it broke higher here. Understand me? It reacted here and then it broke that high, right? It broke that resistance there, it broke it, and then after that it went down, playing around this gap right here, right? But remember, we're not trading this. These are just things I use to understand areas that are strong, not really strong, but areas that will help me out when it comes to entering a trade, right? So we understand that price broke that high right there, broke it with like volume, right? With like pressure going in, and then after that, price started to drop. But it took a lot of time going down, which is another reason why we can expect price to go higher. I mean, we're not yet trading, right? We're just speculating right here. And then yes, price went into that block right there. And then that gap, and then after that, price went higher, right? And then after that, price went higher, it started dropping. But this time, what did it do? It actually broke. It actually broke that. It broke that low right there. You understand me? See, it actually broke it. It actually broke it, right? So now that we understanding that price is playing around this area, it's actually playing around this area. It's resisting, but comes back, it breaks, but it goes up. There's a chance here we might get what we're looking for. And then this is where this line comes into play. Now we understand that price is playing in a down-like trend movement, right? That's what price is doing at that current moment. It's not really going up. It's not really deciding on if it's gonna go lower here. We don't really know, right? We don't really know. For a person using a different strategy, maybe they know, but for our side, for us doing what we're doing, we don't really know here what's going on. We saw that price actually took out the liquidity down here, but we don't really know if it's trying to go higher after that or drop lower. We don't really know. So we're just using the information we're receiving here so that we can get what we're looking for, right? So now that we're seeing this level being broken, and that block not being respected, because that's where price reacted before, right? But when it came down, it never paid attention to it. It just even broke this level here. So now we're gonna take this because now we have two parallel sides, right? By two, I mean this is our first touch. Let me do this. This is our first touch. This is our first touch right here. This is our first touch right there, and this is our second touch. This is our second touch. You see how everything now is coming together. So this is our second touch. So yeah, now we need a midpoint for everything to be valid, and we have our midpoint, which is here. We have our midpoint, which is there. Now everything is coming together, right? So now you don't want to make this mistake. You don't want to make this mistake. You want to clone. You don't want to draw another one. No, you want to clone this thing. You want it to be perfect, right? So you're going to put it there on that close right there. Right, so we noticed that price slightly broke above this line, but it went down, which is good. It's not a red flag or anything, but we cannot use this time frame. We cannot use the 15-minute time frame to get a trade here. So this is where you should be interested in taking a trade. Right? What's going on now? So here, that's where you should be interested in taking a trade, right? not you shouldn't take a trade, but you should be interested. You should look at the qualities that are required for you to take that trade, right? That's where you should be interested. So this is where we drop to the 1 minute time frame. So this is where I took my trade, around this area right here. This is where I took my sell, right? This is where I took my sell right here. But I ended it quick. I didn't want to hold up until here. I went out around here, around this zone, this midpoint right here. I'll show you how I got to that midpoint. But yeah. Now I'm going to drop to the 1 minute time frame so that I slowly go into how I entered that trade, right? So yeah, so now that we have that information, we have all that, we're looking at this zone right here, right? We're looking at this zone right here. So notice how we have that similar thing right here. We had price going down, breaking. Okay, let me not put it like that, but let's just say when price got to this trend line here, we had price. Let me remove that so you don't get confused, right? When price came back to this area right here, price reacted. That's the first thing we see here. Price reacted, right? Price reacted, and then after that, price dropped. It hesitated a bit here, but we saw volume kicking in, and then some hesitation here, and then after that, price broke market structure there, right? Price broke that market structure there. But wait a minute, we're not gonna use that to trade. For me, that's not enough. I mean, for others, maybe they would say, yeah, I'm seeing that price broke structure with volume. But remember, we want the cleanest setup. For me, this is not clean enough. I'm not happy with that resistance, that hesitation of price right there. I'm not happy with that delay. So this is where me going to a higher time frame plays a big role, because now I'm able to understand if this is a red flag for me, or just a way to just complicate things for me. So how do I simplify it? How do I filter that delay out? I go to the 2 minute time frame. To filter out this thing which I don't like, right? You see now it's being filtered out. I used to have, this was usually big, but now it's less noisy, right? Now it's looking cleaner. This volume is actually looking nicer now, right? But I'm still not happy. I'm not liking this. I want a clean break. I don't want noise. I want a clean one, right? So what do? We drop to, let's just drop to, okay, let's go to the 3 minute. It's fine. We drop to the 3 minute. Understand me? The 3 minute also is cleaner now, cleaner than what we saw in the 2 minutes. Cleaner. We have a slightly bullish candlestick there, and another one here, which is not as clean, but it's cleaner. Now we're having a big push breaking this structure right here, right? But I'm not happy as yet. I don't want to see these candlesticks right there. I don't want to see that, right? So we drop. We go up again. 5 minutes. I don't know if we have 4 minutes. I never used 4 minutes. Okay, I don't have 4 minutes. Okay, let me just go to 5 minutes, right? Now see what we see in 5 minutes. You see what we're seeing now? See what we're seeing? Clean. This is what we want. So these are the only times where we are allowed to go higher. if we're not happy with how it broke this structure right here, right? So now that we happy, we see that price actually broke this high right here, and then it dropped real quick with no hesitation. Okay, there was a slight hesitation, but it's still a bearish candlestick, right? But after that, it broke. This is what we want to see. And then notice how we got that gap right there, that fair value gap. Notice how we got it there. Okay, I'm just gonna put it here. It's fine. So notice how we got that gap right there, and then price came back to it, right? And then when price came back to it, remember what I told you guys. We're not just gonna enter here just because we're seeing price reacting. No, we need price to engulf. We need price to engulf candlesticks, right? So in this case, we see that price entered there, and then we got an engulf pattern. And this is where you want to enter. This is where I entered, but I was a bit late. So I entered, okay, not late per se. I got price after that engulf. I entered when it went back a little around here. So, but this is where you want to enter without hesitation. Without hesitation. So let me bring my tool. Okay, before I want to measure my midpoint, right? Before, but you see how price eventually dropped after that. It's still going down. I went out early. I wasn't trying to hold it. I wasn't trying to hold it for long. So that's one of the reasons why I went out early. But usually, if I want to go out early, I go out around the midpoint area. Okay, what's going on now? I don't understand what's going on. Yeah, usually if I'm trying to go out, I would go out around this midpoint area, right? But if not, I would usually put a protective stop loss and then I just let it go. I don't like to be in risk. I don't like that. But I'll teach you how to do that if you're trying to hold, so that you don't risk your money whilst you're in a good trade, right? So yeah, I want to right. So let me go back to the full screen here. So yeah, this is it. From that level, from that tip right there where price returned, you want to put your Fibonacci right there, and then here, the tip where price went higher, you want to put it there. So this, I would like to call it my midpoint, my target. And this is what plays a role when it comes to setting your protective stop losses, right? So first thing you want to look at, you want to enter a trade, right? So this is where you would want to enter after that engulf. After you see that close, just because you're seeing a candlestick going down doesn't mean you should jump in. You have to wait until it closes. You understand me? So this is where you want to be inside the market. This is where you want to be inside, right? Keeping in mind proper risk management. And this is where your stop loss should be, right? This is where your stop loss should be, right? So entry stop loss right there, right? So yeah. So what you want here, if you inside this trade, you want price to hit this level and then you're out. Or you want price to hit this level, and after it hit, you're not going to panic now or do whatever now. After it hit, you want to see price close below this midpoint level right here. You want to see it close below it. And after you see that price close below, you want to bring your stop loss or your protective stop loss. You want to bring your protective stop loss break even or whatever. You can slightly higher or whatever, slightly lower or whatever. I mean, put your stop loss right there. But you only do that when price is closed below this midpoint, right? That's where you adjust your stop loss so that you are risk free. That's if you're trying. That's if you're trying to hold the entire thing. That's if you're trying to hold the entire thing, which is something I usually do a lot. I like to take the entire thing, right? So you would target that right there. So this would be your target, which is gonna hit. I can assure you that it's most likely gonna hit. But keep in mind, with such confidence, this should not be altered. You cannot mess with your stop loss. That one, however way, it don't matter if you're confident or you whatever. It don't really matter. You can be super confident, but this right here, you don't play with your stop loss. You don't compromise that, bro. That should be always be respected, however the case. Even if the market decides to go here and take your stop loss out, don't mean you have to jump in. Take that trade. No. If your stop loss is hit, it's fine. Look for another setup. Even if it's still gonna go down, it's fine. But that right there, that's just me showing you guys or telling you guys how that should be respected. That's like your golden ticket, dog. That's like your golden ticket. If you respect this thing, you will see in the long term, in the long run, that I'm actually becoming more profitable because of this risk management. Mainly because of that, right? I mean, it does also, the strategy also plays a role, but that is also very important. Don't take it lightly, dog. You feel me? So yeah, this is definitely gonna hit. But as much as I am telling you guys that I would have had my stop loss right here if I didn't go out here, right? I would have had it right there after that close here. I would have had my protective stop loss right there without hesitation, right? But another thing you have to keep in mind, the moment you backtest, you keep backtesting this strategy and you become more familiar to it, and you watch my videos, you constantly build that confidence and you become, like me. I wouldn't advise you guys to enter a trade whilst it's gone. I feel like if you know that price is gonna touch here, right, rather than it going back and hitting that stop loss or whatever, if you know, you shouldn't take that trade, man. Just learn from it. This is what I do. If I know that I'm late, maybe I see the trade right here, or whenever. But if I already missed this movement where price broke midpoint, if I already missed that one, I'm not gonna take that trade, regardless of how much I believe that price is strongly going down. That doesn't change the fact that I don't enter the trade. So you'd really want to enter here. What that does for you, it trains you. It trains you to be disciplined and to be consistent on one particular thing. You become more accepted. You become more accepted. What am I saying? You accept more. That trains you to accept things for what they are, right? It trains you to accept things for what they really are, and you're not just taking anything just because you just want to trade, right? No. So I would really like to hold on to this trade until it touches, which it will touch most probably, but I feel like I should just leave it right here. You feel me? I feel like I should just leave it right here so that you guys see that this thing actually works. I'll just leave it here, and immediately after the trade hits TP, I'm just gonna close the lesson right there. That's gonna be the end of it. So hopefully it doesn't take more than an hour, because I don't want this video to be an hour long. But I just want you guys to digest what I just showed you and just watch the market go straight to that target right there. So what I'm gonna do, I wanna highlight this area right here as our target. Okay, let me just remove that let me just remove that. Okay, now let me just so this is gonna be our target, right? It's gonna be our target right there. Right, so this is actually real life movements. I mean, this is real life movement. This is a trade I actually took. I'm actually regretting it. Actually, I'm not regretting it, because judging, but I don't really like pride, like when my trades are going this slow, you know. I don't like slow movements. That's why I developed this 1 minute strategy, this lower time frame strategies. Or this is how I got into lower time frame trading, you feel me? Because I don't like to sit long hours trading this, you know. I have other things that I should be doing, you know. So I don't want to spend the whole day understanding this or staying there or just being that patient. No, I mean, that's why it helps to have a protective stop loss. But regardless of that, I would like to check my trade an hour later, 2 hours later, and I'm almost done with it, you know. That's what I like. So am I regretting it? Nope. Why am I not regretting it? Because I made something. I came up with something, right? I came up with something which is quite nice if you look at how this candlestick expanded after it just went back slightly back, right? It's quite nice. It only took me like what's going on? Am I being hacked or what? It only took just 1 2 3 4 5. This is 5 minute, right? So this was around, when I entered it was around 2 p.m., right? New York time. So this one was like 2:35, and then eventually it hit my midpoint right here, which was 320. So it's not a large gap, right? Judging by how, when I traded and when I exited, right? But if you are trying to hit this major target right here, it did take time, which is something that I don't like, but it's not a lot of time too, man. Sometimes I do hold on to such trades. I do hold on. It's rewarding at the end, you know. So yeah, depending on your mood, you can go out there, but I would, for starters, I would advise you guys to hold on, you know, but respecting your stop loss. But if you feel like you wanna target that midpoint level, if you feel like this is what you want to target, it's also good. But just because you're done doesn't mean you have to scratch out your analysis, your analytics, or whatever. You still have to monitor the trade, learn from it, right? So that you become more comfortable holding on to those trades. Like, you're more likely to hold on to trades in the future. But you really have to study the prices. You really have to study the movement, digest everything that's going on. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and then we are gonna sign out immediately after our target is hit. All right, so I feel like it's really taking too long for it to hit. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just post a picture. I'll post a picture of the trade on YouTube. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna close the video right here. But let's wait for this last push, because I feel like now it is done retesting a little bit. So let's see if this last push will be our TP. If it doesn't hit on this push, then I'm just gonna close it here, and then later on I'm just gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna post it on YouTube. So yeah, and yeah, man, feel free, man. There's a link on my description. Sign up to Deriv. Feel free to do that, man. So now I'm just gonna close it up to here. So if you guys watched it till here, shout out to you, man. There's a lot that's gonna be done. Appreciate you guys. So whatever that I get, I'm gonna post it on the on YouTube. So, but for me, man, if this was me and trading this, I would have been out, because like I said, I don't like to hold on to such trades that take long time. You feel me? Such a long time. So I would have been out by now, but I was still gonna watch on it. I was still gonna learn from it, right? I'm still gonna, observe. I'm still gonna do all those things because it's gonna help you also, right? It's gonna definitely help you. So yeah. But I'm feeling like this push right here is gonna take out this price now. That's how I'm feeling. But nah, I'm not gonna wait for that now. I'm just gonna leave it out here, and then I'm gonna come back later. The results, I'm just gonna take a screenshot. I'm gonna post it on YouTube. But if you got this far, man, please try to backtest. Don't just rush and trade, man. Backtest your things until you're confident. I'll be here all the time teaching you guys this. And my next lesson is going to be very interesting, man. So stick around, man. Just be part of the family. Legion Lifestyle signing out.